Hello everyone and welcome back to Banished, and I know what you're thinking. Radio, what the hell? As you can see here, we're in a new town screen. We have a new town name, a new map seed, and of course I've just figured out I've deciphered what the map key is, or the map seed is. This tells you where I'm playing, so you can have the same map that I'm going to have. So if you want to take the time, pause the game, and write this number down, you can have the very same map that I'm going to have. Now, I'm going to keep everything the same as it was before, and you're wondering, well, why are we doing something new at all? Well, I've been playing other games so much, and I didn't save the damn game. That's what happened. I'm sure there's an autosave, and I've seen that I do have autosaved games on here. I've been tinkering around to kind of get a better idea of what goes on with this particular game, but for whatever reason, I don't know how I did it, I didn't save our original city or original little town there, so it's gone. It has, in fact, banished. So, actually, it's vanished, but I couldn't help the bad pun. So what we're going to do is we're going to stay with valleys. We have taken the terrain size to medium. That's really the only difference. We're going to keep the climate fair the disasters are on. We're still going to stick with medium starting conditions. I know that we could do hard, but you know what? For the ease of getting into a video that produces some stuff, I think we're going to stay with medium and go from there. So what's going to happen this episode is I'm going to quickly, with the magic of edits and fast forward video, I'm going to get us to roughly where we were in our first episode, and that way we can get kind of caught up and we can start building our new little town here, and we won't have lost too much. So anyway, so we've got Folsonville, we've got our map seed, we're ready to go. Let's hit OK. Let's get in here. I'm sure you guys are probably at this point tired of seeing introductory videos to the game of Banished, especially from me, because now this is the second one in a row. So again, as always, I'm going to go ahead and pause the game, and I'm going to zoom way out, and I'm going to see what's going on. We're going to medium-sized map is a little larger, which is awesome. We've got a interesting peninsula thing going on here, so that's pretty cool. A little bit of a hill right in our damn way, and that's all right. We've got some, wow, look at the size of that lake. That could be cool for fishing. So at any rate, I'm going to get started, and we're going to go into here, actually here, and I'm going to get some things up on the screen. There seems to be a standard these days about who puts what where. We're all putting things in the same areas, and it works out really well. So I'm just going to stick with that, and I'm going to figure out what I want to build. We've got our barn and our stockpile kind of right in my way, so oh well. Alright, with the game paused, I'm actually going to go in, and we've got laborers. We don't have any builders. Let's assign a couple of those. We're going to split them up almost. Yeah, let's get some roads going. Let's get some houses going. And I will see you guys shortly as I figure this out on the way, but I will see you guys shortly. Of course, it's going to seem instantaneous, so I wonder sometimes why we tell you, hey, I'll be right back, because if I don't tell you, it's going to come right back anyway. So we're roughly back to where we were actually in our first video already, which didn't take too terribly long, which is good because I'm building quicker, I've learned more, and that'll help us out. One of the things about the game I wish we could kind of change, and maybe we'll at some point, is the gosh darn annoying warnings, which is obviously helpful. You need to know when things are low, your firewood, your food, those sorts of things. Right now we only have one fisherman. We need to up this to at least 3. What can be very key is getting through the very first winter. I've found that, you know, with a little bit of simple planning, it's not too terribly difficult. All you need to do is make sure to start with, you need 5 houses. That's going to put all of your citizens on the medium difficulty. I think you have fewer citizens in the hard difficulty, so you would actually need fewer houses. But if you have 5 houses, that'll make sure everyone is not homeless. I needed to build a bridge that took a little more resources than I wanted to, but you need a woodcutter so you can heat the houses, and you need food. Now what I'm planning on doing right now though with this bridge is making more food, because a quick pause, my goal, my thought process here is we're probably going to have several different little areas. I do want to build a major town at some point, and it might be in this area down here in this peninsula. I might try to, you know, have a nice waterfront and town square, city hall, that stuff over in here. But for now, I'm going to use this as kind of our hunting and gathering ground, because it's got a bunch of old growth which we need for the herbalist, which I'll probably put over here. I'll probably put all 3 in here, but I might put some housing here as well. so they can live close to where they work, which will help with efficiency. They still have to carry things back across the bridge into town here, but I will add another stockpile. Down here, I think I'm going to put the first of 2 or 3 forester farms, and I'll explain how I do that. I actually have a quick tip about that. I'm actually going to wipe the area clean and plant only, and if you cycle them, let's say we have 3, we have 1 here, here, and here. This is not to scale, of course. It takes about 3 seasons for them to grow. So if I do this one season, this next season, and this the third, every time I harvest 1 per season, they're always in bloom, they're always grown. You can even do 4 if you wanted to, which means you would have plenty of lumber. That's going to solve our lumber issues. So, all that being said, let's get back to work. Let's get the game rolling, and I am going to run this road straight out. We're not doing anything too fancy or exciting. Of course, I can't attach it directly to the dock. I need to... How far out should we go? Let's shoot for about the middle. That's pretty good right there, I think. And then let's look at food first, because food is oh so important, and we want to have... What do I want? I want... I want a gatherer's hut. That's what I want. So if we put this here, we can see again our yellow circle, the efficient area, and that covers a really wide range. That's great. Let's put that down right there. And hopefully they will get that going ASAP for us, so we can get some food into our barn here, because we got to feed these citizens or they're going to die off on us, and that's not going to help anybody. I've already cleared out an area here. I am going to clear out this area too, because I want to get the resources from the ground. I want it all. I'm not worried about saving any of this, because we're clearing all of this up for building. So this isn't going to be a nature reserve or anything. This is getting torn down. We need it to build our town so we can grow. Now this area, or this arrow, shows us that he has reached his limit, his fuel limit. And from what I've gleaned from other people playing the game, what will happen is when they have nothing else to do, they'll end up joining in other tasks. So I'm not going to increase the fuel limit yet, because we only have 5 houses to heat, and there's no sense. I don't have a trading post, so I don't have an additional need for extra wood. So we're just going to let that sit, and you'll know in this game that you're going to see all kinds of little icons above your buildings, and once you learn what they are, everything runs pretty smoothly. You kind of get used to seeing them. In some games, you see an icon, you're like, oh my god, something's wrong, I have to fix it. Not quite as much in this game. It just is information more than anything. It's telling you, hey, this is already set, and at any time you can increase your limit. Well, I'm not worried about that yet, so let's just keep rolling along here. We've got our fishermen going in, and how are we doing? Well, we're fishing. See some deer over there. Some hunting would be good, but hopefully we have... Do we have wildlife over here? Sometimes it's hard to see. Did I see movement in there? No, I saw a mushroom. Well, that's a good thing, because that's what these are for. And we are going to get 2 gatherers right off the bat. Because food is so important, you want to make sure it's better. Well, there's some deer, so we can put our hunting maybe around in here. Find where the animals are. Where the animals are, that's where you want to hunt. Because if there aren't any animals, you're not feeding anyone, correct? So, at any rate, we want to have a couple of gatherers. We've got a couple of fishermen. We have 3 fishermen, actually. So that's going to help us get through our first winter with absolute ease. We're stocking up. We've got lots of logs, lots of iron, lots of stone. Now, I don't want to blast through them as fast as I can just to build. The goal for me here, and I've noticed in playing this game on my own, playing as fast as you can isn't necessarily going to get you anywhere. This game seems to be more of a take your time, plan it out correctly, and also enjoy the ride. So that's why in this series, more than, say, the SimCity series that I do and other video game series you may watch, you might see some more edits. It's more like a television show, because you'll go from one scene to another scene. So, and that's fine. But in the meantime, you won't be missing critical things, because if you are, we'll stop the game and we'll let you know exactly what's happening. So that way you're completely up to date on what's going on. So we are already near capacity with our iron. Look at that. We're filling up really, really quick. Stockpiles, if you don't use them, they can fill up quickly. So I'm going to quickly pause the game, and I'm going to build a couple of things, because I want to make sure that I'm using the resources we have and not just hoarding them for no good reason. Let's take this road and bring it straight out here. And I'm going to put a little house right across the street. This is going to be our gatherer's hut, if I can rotate it the right way for you. And sometimes you like to center things. You know what? I'm going to line this up. I'm going to justify right. That's what we call that. Do that there. And I got to figure out where I want to put that hunting lodge, because I'll tell you what, seeing the game down in here, that might be a good idea. But for now, you know what? We should probably just go ahead and put one down, because the great thing about the hunting cabins, what they do a couple of things for us. Not only do they give us food, but they also give us leather. And, oops, I have discovered that leather is a great trading resource. So you want to have leather. You can not only make great things with leather, but you can trade it as well. Iron tools and leather seem to trade fairly well. So let's play the game again, and let's go back over here. And you know what? I think we're going to go ahead and make another house in here. Because, you know, we want people making babies, and if they don't have a place to go make babies, well, then why would they, right? Let's change it. I want two of the same house style right next to each other. There we go. How about that one? We'll mix this up a little bit and get some different things going on. So, now as you can see, we're overflowing here. I'm kind of hoping that, you know, I might even have to just increase this stockpile for the time being. We can always, if we like, delete it later on. That's what we're going to do. I don't want to run into issues with this. So let's go here. Let's grab our stockpile. We can only go so close to the water, so I'm just going to go directly behind the barn. And I'm going to bring this out. You know what? I don't like the way that lines up. Boy, you know, for something temporary, I sure am being fussy, aren't I? There we go. And that'll get them. They'll start. They're smart enough to take all of their resources and pile them into the new stockpile. And then once this goes down, once we have other areas with new stockpiles and you know, new houses and whatnot, we can build a separate stockpile. We can get rid of that one. That's not a big deal. So I might even build out into this area. This is looking kind of neat. Let's go ahead and at least throw a road straight up, and we'll see where that gets us. As you can see, our gatherer's hut is doing pretty well. We've got roots, onions, mushrooms, and berries. Those are standard fare. But having two people seems to be quite enough. Although here it's looking like our amount of stored food is low, so I'm going to go ahead and increase that to one more person, and hopefully that'll help us stay ahead of the game, because we want to make sure we have extra food for the winter, which we're coming into anyway. Well, the building of our hunting cabin is almost complete. We're just about there, and we can assign some hunters, and I'm probably going to put two people in here for now. I would maybe like some more later on. It's going to depend on how many laborers we have versus people, because I have an idea. Well, we have some resources, but I want to clear out an area. I'm going to show you. I'm going to get in further into clearing this out. I'm not quite sure yet where I want to put my forester's lodge, but we've got this interesting valley, and this could be a neat area for more buildings. So it's going to be kind of a work in progress. We're going to make this up as we go along. I don't have a lot of pre-planned ideas as far as where buildings are going to go, but I do know what kinds of buildings we need. So as you can see, we've upgraded our hunters. Now we have two, and that's good news. And I think also what I'll do, though, well, I don't need to worry about it now, but we've got a lot of great iron and rocks and stone here, so we're going to clear these out at some point. We have room in our new stockpile, lots of room. So you know what, I may just do that to get these going and get the trees to build up a little bit more, because they'll have room. So let's get in here and let's get some stones. And mostly this is all going to be iron. Wow, that's going to be a lot of iron. Well, that's good, though, because we're going to use that for tools, which brings us to the next two things we need, of course, which is a blacksmith and then a seamstress. But we're going to start with a blacksmith. Let me figure out where I want to put a blacksmith. The blacksmith... How big is that? The blacksmith's building isn't all that big. It's the seamstress's building is actually quite sizable. If I rotate this, and I can put a little road right down there. Let's put a little bit of space in between the blacksmith and the... Yeah, you know what? That's fine. Let's do that. And we'll grab our road, and we'll come right off of here. And we're going to build a little two-lane road. Some of these are going to be 2 lanes, some of these are going to be 1 lane. I don't know why. I'm just kind of doing this as I go. I thought I was going to have a plan of, oh, so maybe we'll have major streets, which aren't even streets, they're walkways. There's no cars or buggies or horses. Major streets will be 2 lanes, and simple paths will be 1. Well, you know, I don't have a plan. I'd like to pretend that I do. I think it's clear that I don't. I just want it to look nice, but of course also be functional. That's kind of my gameplay style anyway. So we've got construction going on, and this is probably one of my favorite parts of the game. I don't know why, but watching the little people just run around and gather the resources necessary and then come up and actually start the construction, this is always pretty neat. They've really, the one gentleman who built the game, really put a lot of detail into it, and it makes it worthwhile. So we're placing an herbalist, and I've noticed that my health has dropped a little bit, and that's not good. So that's why I've placed an herbalist. I'm having trouble see, unfortunately, the footprint. I probably should have later wrote out first, but the herbalist is going to grab herbs, gather herbs, obviously, from the surrounding area. This is the thing we've talked about where they prefer old growth for these sorts of things. But that's going to help build medicines up to help the health of the citizens stay higher, which is certainly a concern. We're doing okay with food. I've added an additional hunter, so now I have 3 of everything. You can see gatherer, fisher, hunter. That should be okay. As we grow, we'll need more, but we'll grow our surplus, and we're not in any danger. We're still building this blacksmith. It's taking a while. I don't know. We probably should add a builder here. We've got extra room for one, and we have some laborers going on, and that's good. And we have a good supply of just about everything we need. We've got lots of logs, and we've got stone and iron, so we're doing just fine on that. I might start clearing out this area of iron next. As a matter of fact, you know what, why not do it now and get that taken care of? So we're going to start collecting this iron and getting this iron out of here, because that can be used in the future for tools, which, now look at this, we finally have some actual building going up here, and the blacksmith is going to need iron to build these tools. And we're going to set a cap on this, keeping in mind though that iron tools trade fairly well, so I want to make sure that I have a little extra, because when I do finally build the trading port, which hopefully will be very soon, we can trade those off, because we're going to need seeds for crops, and we're going to need cattle. Actually, I like to get sheep, because that way we can get the wool necessary for our tailor to make the heavy winter jackets, which consists of both leather and wool. So let's go ahead and put a blacksmith to work. We'll get him going, and we'll see what's going on with construction over here. Oh, they're clearing out the area. Fantastic. Now I can see from here that this area here, and I faced it this way, that's where our building is. So if I go here, I can put down a road. If I go to the red section and just go one off, that's obviously where the road is going to go. And I'm going to bring that straight down. And it can't go through there for some reason. We'll figure out why in a minute. I'm guessing it might be that hill. Sometimes it's a resource in the way. Yeah, that's the hill that's in the way. And that's fine. We'll let them go ahead and build that road. And then we'll probably just L-shape it connected into here so they can use that if they want to. It speeds up their walking process a little bit. But on the other side, we have some kids being born. Juanatina, of course, is now is now an infant. We're up to 28 people. That's not too bad. I may or may not look at building some additional houses soon. Like I said, population growth is key, but managing your population growth is even more key. We have just enough food for what we're trying to accomplish right now. So I have to bear that in mind as I grow, that I don't want to grow too quickly. I don't want to outgrow our food sources. So we've got 3 hunters, 3 gatherers, and 3 fishers. What I think I'm going to want to do very soon is actually build a farm, get some crops going on, because those work very well in my experience. And I'll probably put it, unfortunately, right where these gosh darn deer are. I could hunt that area, but and I may yet. I don't know. Maybe we'll do a little bit of both. I could put the farm out here. You know what? Let's take a look at that. Why the heck not? So if we go into food and we go into crop field, we can go. That's not very wide, so we would have to do an area like this. Now there's such thing. If you go too big, it'll tell you crop field is too large. 10 by 16 is too big. 10 by 15 is fine. I think, I don't know if I want this out here or not. I'm torn. I think it could look neat. What if we did 2 side by side? What if we did here, and then we spaced one out and we did another one here? Well, I've already got the one going, so I guess we're sort of committed. Again, we can always take this down. You don't necessarily want to do that. And I certainly should have thought this out more before I did it. But you know what? That's okay. This is part of the fun. Let's have them get out there and build this thing up. We only need 3 builders, so we'll add an extra laborer, and they'll get out there and they'll take care of this, and we can start putting together we'll need farmers, and then we're also going to need we start with 1 seed, I believe, because we're on the medium difficulty, so that's the good news. And the crop production actually works out pretty well in my experience, so this will help us with our food problems as we grow. Well, if we don't add a gatherer, it really doesn't do us any good. So now actually, an herbalist. Our gatherers down here, they're 2 different people. Just because they both work with plants and they're probably vegetarians doesn't mean that they're the same person. So now we have our herbalist going on, and that's good news. And we'll get some medicine into the colony here. Here we go. Our farm is complete. I've discovered, I believe we need 2 people per farm in order to get them to work. Well, actually here, let's bring this to 0. We can make cabbage or corn. Let's start with corn. And the reason I want to do corn is not only can you eat it and it's wonderful for everything, I think you may or may not be able to turn that into alcohol. Corn mash, anyone. And definitely putting in alcohol into an ale house might be fun for us. So now if we try one, we can get 1 farmer on this plantation. I've had them in the past where I needed 2 farmers, so that's okay. We'll let this one gentleman come out here and farm. And I think very shortly here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to build a house out here. I'm not quite sure how I want to divvy this up. I've got this one lonesome field, so we'll play with this as we go and we'll see. Well, the good news is we're making babies. We're now up to 29 people. I have discovered that I think what I want to do is move this over. I'm going to put another field here and then maybe a little house. So let's get into that. To get rid of the roads, this is your no road tool. So you can get in here and you can put this down. And I'm going to go all the way back to the stockpile, unfortunately. I really wish that I would have thought this out a little bit more, but it's my own fault, and that's okay. This is part of the learning process. And I'm also going to go on the far side of this field, and we're going to bring this out to about here, and we're going to step that in. And I might even change that yet, and that's okay if I do. But we can now, if we want to, put another, and we've got enough laborers that we could certainly spare another farmer, so I think I'm going to, just because our food production is not as high as I want it to. And one of the things you'll discover early in the game, 2 things you really need to make sure you're on top of: food production and logs. Lumber always seems to be an issue. I could get a really big one in here if I wanted to. Maybe we'll stretch this. How big's a house? I know how big a house is. That's a storage barn. Let's do a house instead. Yeah, if we put it right on the road here, that's going to give us, yeah, it's a 4x4 is what your houses are going to be. So I could measure up 4 spaces and then put down our field. Let's try that and see what we get. So let's grab this. So if I've got, this is 1, this is 2, 3, and 4, I could put it right next to this, and that gives us a good looking field right there. A pretty big one too at that. I tend to want to work in even numbers, but you know, I'm going to avoid that temptation, and I'm just going to go ahead and put this crop field down right here. We've got these guys. This is probably his child right there, and he's out there working this field, and we're starting to plant corn, which means in this one we're going to do cabbage, and we're going to add a farmer, and perfect. So we've got 2 farmers going on, and you know, with 30 people, we're doing okay. I want to add a house here. I'm not yet going to do it. We've reached our limit with tools. Fantastic. So we've got iron tools for everyone. We don't have to worry about them running low. And fairly soon, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to build the trade port, I think, right out here. We'll see. But that, I believe, is going to do it for this episode. We're slightly further than we were last time. I do apologize for the setback, but we're coming along. Things are working a little easier, and I have a much better understanding of what's going on, so it'll be easier for me to explain it to you. So, that being said, please do me a favor. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you would like to see. If there's something I'm doing wrong, again, please tell me. If you have questions, please ask. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll see you next time for another episode of Banished.